Oh, hi there. Thanks so much for showing up for your math learning and to give me this mulligan. All right, let's take a look at how we can solve these types of questions. One great habit is to number your equations. And so we're just going to manipulate equation 2 over here. Factoring out a p squared r is a good strategy. So that would be multiplied by 1 plus r squared is equal to 224. And then manipulating equation 1 over here, factor out a p, sure, why not, 1 plus r squared equals 28, okay? And then we notice that we have this really gnarly thing that would cancel out. We're very excited to cancel these things out because it gives us a lot of information. So now we do 2 divided by 1. Equation 2, that is, divided by equation 1, which is equal to p squared r multiplied by that whole quadratic, 1 plus r squared, equals 224 over, well, we're going to do this over a p multiplied by 1 plus r squared equals 28. So the right side of the equation equals 8, because 8 times 28 is 224. Verify. Okay, and then this one, p cancels a p, and we're left with pr, because this cancels this. So pr equals 8. Circle it. That's important information. Let's solve this for p. So p equals 8 on r. Now, which equation looks easier to work with? Number 1 is easier to work with. It has fewer common factors, so do that. Okay, so let's write it out again. Let's flip colors so we know that we're now working the next phase. Okay, so we're going to take equation 1 and we're going to just write it out. P, because we're going to go step by step, plus PR plus PR times R. Let's just write PR squared that way is equal to 28. Okay. And then PR can go there and there. We know that to be PR, and P can go here. Okay, so we have 8 on R, that's P, plus 8 plus 8R equals 28. Let's subtract 28 from both sides. Rewrite for clarity, so rewrite in standard form, 8R minus 20 plus 8 on r equals 0. We got this quadratic equal to 0. It's on the ropes. Why am I calling it a quadratic? Well, we have r's of different degrees, right? So when we multiply this whole thing by r, and note, we are multiplying the other side by r, so we have 0 times r on the other side, which is 0. And here we have 8r squared minus 20r plus 8, okay, that's quadratic. So you'll sometimes see these quadratics in this form where they're kind of disguised. You don't see the r squared, but you have an r downstairs, a linear term, and then an r upstairs. They can be turned into quadratics. Now let's factor this. Divide both sides by 4, so we get 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 2r squared minus 10r plus 2 equals 0. I did divide the other side by 4. Just want to point out. Okay, now let's divide by 4. Oh my goodness. Divide minus 20 by 4 is minus 5. Okay, and then we take, we want to find two numbers that multiply to 2 times 2. That's this 2 times that 2. And add to negative 5. And those numbers are minus 4 and minus 1 will multiply to 4. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we got those numbers, so let's decompose that middle term. 2r squared minus 4r minus r plus 2. You can write them the other order, it's fine, doesn't matter. This common factors out to 2r times r minus 2. And this one we can factor out a minus 1 times r minus 2. And there we go. Now this factors finally into 2r minus 1 multiplied by r minus 2. And then we get our two values of r. Here, r equals 1/2. Here, r equals 2. Okay? So we got our two values of r. Let's go ahead and use this equation to find the other values of p. Okay? So if r equals 1/2, pr equals 8. So p times 1/2 equals 8, and p equals 16. So one of our solutions for PR is equal to 16 1/2. And then this one is the one we found. Weird. Okay, and that one was, then p is 8. Sorry, p is 4, and r is 2. 4, 2 works, and 16 1/2 works. That's how you do. So that's how you do that one. And then we could go back and we could test both of those if we wanted. This one is super fun down here. We got this one started, but we didn't really get it on the ropes. I got somewhere interesting with my solution, and I checked the solution and found they used a very different method to work with this one. I'm going to show you my way. You can, if you want, I'll show you the official solution, but mine's just a little different. Okay, we're going to start by doing the same thing over here. Just say x equals 2 plus z. Important to cross your z's here so that they don't look like 2's. Okay, and then let's work with this equation. That equals 2, and see what we get. So we have x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals 2. We're going to substitute in for x, z plus 2. Z plus 2 squared plus y squared plus z squared equals 2. Z plus 2 squared is z squared plus 4z plus 4 plus y squared plus z squared equals 2. Subtracting 2 from both sides gives, and let's also subtract y squared from both sides. We're going to isolate the z's from the y's. This is another good practice. We didn't get here yesterday, so we're going to get here now. Okay. Move all your y's to one side and your z's to the other. It's great. All right, let's see what we get. Okay, we get 2z squared plus 4z plus 2 equals negative y squared. Now note, negative y squared is always negative because y squared is always positive unless y is 0. Okay, so now we can factor out a 2 from the other side. So we're going to have 2 times z squared plus 2z plus 1 equals negative y squared. And then watch this. This is 2 times z plus 1 all squared equals minus y squared. This one's a perfect square trinomial. It's z plus 1 squared. So we have 2 times a square, which will always be positive, or 0 if the square is equal to 0, equals to minus y squared, which is always negative unless y is 0. The only solution is they're both 0 on both sides of the equation. Okay? This square here is always positive. That square there is always positive. So the only place they meet is 0. So therefore y equals 0. And z plus 1 equals 0. In other words, z equals minus 1. Okay, we're almost there. Z equals minus 1. So x equals 2 plus minus 1. X equals 1. So we have our solution. X, y, z is equal to 1, 0 minus 1. That's the solution. Test it. Okay, clearly it works here. 1 minus minus 1 is indeed 2. Okay, unless, oops, no, clicked in the wrong spot. And then let's test it over there. 1 squared plus 0 squared plus negative 1 squared, that's subbing in for these values, is of course 2. And that's the only solution. So I hope that was easier than it was yesterday. Sometimes when I'm talking, it's really hard to do math correctly, and I just make silly errors, and I need to maybe work on that. Maybe talk less, math more, have you talk more. You have to talk for me. Okay, thanks so much for showing up for your learning, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now, everyone.